Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Speak of Africa. Welcome to our show. We're very excited today because you guys have been sharing a lot of comments with us. We read all the comments and we're saying thank you for expressing yourself. We told you before that this show is your show. We started this show because we wanted to give people of African descent a voice. There are so many shows on the internet, many YouTube shows, but we are different because we don't only share news. What we try to do, we try to present the African problem in a geopolitical context. What happens in Africa does not happen in isolation. And that's the problem a lot of news journalists do not understand. Whatever happens in Africa has influences. It's like there are causes. Most people see the effects. They don't really see the causes. What we try to do is we try to help you understand the causes of African problems. We don't just want to shout at, oh, Africans are poor, Africans are hungry, Africans are lazy. No. Whatever happens to Africa, we try to ask, what created this problem? Most of the time, when you look at African problems, the causes are external. Even when you see internal factors, they tend to be anchored on the external forces. That's why in this show, we try to be different from other shows. We might not actually make you laugh a lot, but what we try to do is we try to make you understand the context within which you need to understand Africa's problems. Most people just see, oh, the effects. Oh, Africans are hungry. Africans are running away from their continent to Europe. But they need to understand, why are Africans running? What is causing them to run? From Ali Masri, one of my former professors, I understood that there's a triple heritage in Africa. Whatever happens in Africa has indigenous factors, you have Christian factors, and you have Islamic factors. So this trio create the reality that you see in the African experience. And which is why we say thank you very much for supporting us, for recognizing what makes our show special. So many of you commented, your show is special, you even like the editing. I'm also going to tell our editor that you were really impressed with the quality of the editing, and I will tell him you guys are really happy. He has read your comments. I've just discussed with him that you like the quality of the work he's doing. We say special thank you, but if you recognize us, it's not enough. Tell your friends and family members so that they can come and watch this channel. We are creating a movement, a new movement for the African youth. We want to take our continent back from the colonial forces. We are creating a revolution. So a revolution is nothing without you. We are just creating the framework within which this revolution can be realized. We want people to start thinking. There's no revolution that can take place without education. So a major part of this channel, the work we're doing is to educate our people, to make sure that we share information with you so that you can take this information and do a lot with it. We want to raise your level of perception. We want you to think metaphysics. We want you to think above the level of the physical so that you can see the spiritual aspect in whatever is happening in the motherland. That's what we're doing. Today, what is happening? When we look at the news cycle, we place Africa's in the geopolitical context, the globe. What is happening in the globe? Well, Donald Trump, has learned many lessons from African dictators, and he's ready to apply these lessons. That's the major story. In fact, on Friday, early in the morning, I decided to liquidate my whole stock market account because I was already foreseeing that the market was going to crash big. I did not want to be caught by surprise. I liquidated my account and I went into cash because I already foresaw that the people are going to respond to most of the new Trump tariffs. When you look at those Trump tariffs, he does it, he stops, he sees that these tariffs are hurting the American economy, yet he's hell-bent on tariffs. Trump has this concept I call predatory capitalism. Predatory capitalism, just like predatory lending. You are a predator. You look for praise. Trump looks at the world in terms of he's a hunter. He's hunting for the United States of America. But actually, to me, he's really hunting for his rich friends. Because what he's doing is not really helping the average American. The average American is still suffering, which is what we need to understand. Trump may be scapegoating. When you look at Trump is creating World War III. That's basically what we see. What are the causes of World War III? Well, the causes are not different from the causes of World War I, World War II. I can take you back as a student of history. What Trump is doing is already a recipe for World War III. Okay? What caused World War I? Well, I will use an acronym. I call MAIN. M stands for militarism. A stands for alliances. I stands for imperialism. N stands for nationalism. These are the four causes of World War I. Militarism, the creation of many militaries, was a problem. Then, of course, alliances against other nations created the problem. Then, of course, the idea of fighting, scrambling for colonies, imperialism, was also another factor. As for nationalism, when people start seeing themselves as a nation, then they want their nation to triumph over other nations. That's a recipe for disaster. You may say what happened during the Second World War is different, but the causes of the Second World War are similar. I still use the same acronym: militarism, alliances, imperialism, and nationalism. It's true. For the First World War, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand triggered the First World War. What about the Second World War? Germany's invasion of Poland created the Second World War. Then what about the Third World War? America's re-election of Donald Trump is the cause of the Third World War. The Third World War has started, even though people have not started really shooting, but it has really started, as I can tell you. When you look at Russia, you look at China, you look at North Korea, all these countries are rejecting the America's hegemony. After the Second World War, America emerged as the preeminent police of the world. China is challenging America. Russia is challenging America. Even South Africa, our own country in the motherland, is challenging America. And that's why America has slapped South Africa with the tariffs of 30%. But what's going to happen? South Africa is not going to take it lying down. They're going to react to it. And when you look at South Africa has been given a tariff rate of 30%. Other African countries that are not really anti-America, they've been given 15%. Tunisia, 25%. But Algeria and Libya, 30%, similar to South Africa. So then what about the countries whose presidents came to the United States for an African summit, like Gabon, Liberia? Well, those countries were given nothing. They don't have to pay the tariffs. Senegal, so they were spared. But for how long crazy Trump is going to spare them? I don't know. So the world has to keep watching. We are now at war. Russia is already responding to some of the moves Donald Trump made recently, but NATO is reacting. North Korea is going to react. China is already reacting. Okay? They are responding to some of these threats because there's a scramble for resources in the entire world. And that's what is causing this Third World War. So the same causes we enumerated for the start of World War I and World War II, they are similar with the causes of World War III. It just takes the election of one ultra-nationalist like Donald Trump to create this war. You see like what is happening. They are arresting immigrants who have done nothing. They are using them as a scapegoat. It's the same thing Nazi Germany did. They were looking at Jews as a scapegoat. But were Jews really the problem of Germany? No. There were other factors. But jingoistic leaders like Donald Trump, they tend to look for scapegoats. So in this case, you see that Donald Trump is just like Adolf Hitler. Very, very similar. He's a popular politician. He uses the anger of the masses to rise to power. What happens? Well, America is going to give. This is the beginning. The crack is already there. The collapse of the American empire has just started. The Fall of Great Nations. When you've read a book like that, it just tells you America is declining. And Trump is accelerating the decline of America. In fact, this week, President Barack Obama and Kamala Harris came out. They broke their silence because they were tired of watching their followers capitulate to Donald Trump with his authoritarian regime. They were encouraging their followers to rise up, to stop getting afraid, to rise up and challenge Donald Trump. So what we're seeing now is just the beginning. So it's telling you that matters are going to get to a head. Things are not going to be this simple. Okay? So this is where we tell you now. So now this is the context, again, which you have to understand the news of today. We'll take you straight to Ambazonia. We've not been talking a lot about Ambazonia because some of you guys were tired of it. But now you're telling us you want to hear more. We can tell you that Ambazonia is like a forgotten revolution, but every day, the boys, Amba boys, they are getting better and better at their game. They know the terrain. They are killing soldiers from Bia's B daily, okay? Most of the time, the Bia people don't want to announce the numbers of their dead soldiers anymore because Bia himself is vegetable. There's an election taking place in October 12th. Bia is a candidate, but what is happening? Bia is a candidate and he's just wasting his time. The opposition too is wasting their time. Some people are saying the opposition needs to organize one voice. Will that make them win the election in La République du Cameroon? No. La République du Cameroon is a banana republic. We've told you. How can you win an election in a banana republic? It's not possible. This banana republic is controlled by France using remote control. Right in Etudi, the presidency in Yaoundé, France has their agent, and their agent is Chantal Biya. Most of you don't really know Chantal Biya, but today we're going to spend some time opening the veil so that you can know who Chantal Biya is. Her real name is Chantal Pouchery Vigouroux. Her father's name is Georges Vigouroux, who is a former French expatriate. He was working in the east around Dumé, Dimako. He met Chantal's mother, and Chantal's mother was probably like 15 years old. She appeared at a beauty contest, beauty pageant. And that's how Georges Vigouroux saw her for the first time. Her name was Rosette. Okay? Even at that young age, it was like a tale of two cities. The French expatriates had nice areas where they stayed. Then the natives stayed in another area. So it was just like a form of apartheid. The colonial guys lived well as expatriates, while the locals lived poorly. So because of this beauty pageant, Chantal's mother, Rosette, appeared while she was 15. Then she caught the eyes of Georges Vigouroux, who was one of the local French agents working in the French enterprise. So even today, before his death, he was the one who made sure that the wealth of Cameroon is exploited by France because his daughter was in the presidential palace. And this exploitation has continued. Even when you look at international sources, they will tell you the level of corruption that has been orchestrated by Chantal Biya in the presidency. One guy even wrote a book, which I think would really shed light on a lot of stuff that you need to know. Bertrand Tailloux, La République, La Belle de la République Bananière. It chronicles the story of the humble rise of Chantal from a street girl to a princess. It's like the story of Cinderella. This guy was jailed for writing this book. He went through a whole lot. Thanks to Amnesty International, he was released. But by then, the damage had been done. He was very sick and he died. So it's very, very sad. But this is what happens when you cross the Biya crime syndicate. They deal with you. And that's what Chantal is doing. So already, when we look at the election of October 12th, the opposition is wasting time. They are not going to win. Because Elekam is a tool of the Biya regime. So how can you win? They will say, oh, we disqualify Maurice Kamto. Even if they don't disqualify Maurice Kamto is still going to lose. When he wins, they will say he has lost. Because Biya is the referee of the match. He decides who wins, he decides who loses. So the game is not fair. A lot of stuff is already placed negatively. Everything is stacked against the opposition, and we feel sorry for the opposition. Why are they even accepting to go through this charade? That's what inquiring minds do not understand. Chantal is there. She's the marionette. France is behind, teleguiding everything in a 2D. And Chantal is just following the French orders, okay? She herself is happy to exploit. She's very corrupt. Bribery and corruption, that's the trick of the trade in the Biya cabal. If they cannot bribe you, they kill you. So most of the people are willing to take the bribes, which is why this week people were really sorry for Issa Chiroma, the former Minister of Communications. He dared express his interest in going to Senegal, Dakar, to visit the tomb of Amadou Ahidjo. What happened next? The Biya people immediately called Ahidjo's daughter, Aminatou Ahidjo, bribed her, made promises to her that she's going to get a big post in the next government. So instead of worrying about her father's memory, Aminatou Ahidjo, the usual spoiled child that she is, now she's supporting the Biya regime. Even the mother was not happy with this child who was supporting somebody who killed her father. So it's really sad when you look at a child like this. She too is an opportunist. She's accusing Issa Chiroma of opportunism, but she herself is an opportunist. When she came to Cameroon and was feted by elements of the Biya regime, the mother was really disconcerted, because why would you want to do this with somebody who has shown that he's an enemy of your family, of your father? But this child is also an opportunist. She has failed in everything she's tried to do, so all she can get now is to dream of getting a post in this Biya next government. That's what she's dreaming about. Because in the north, the people are tired of the Biya cabal. They are tired. So even when one of the politicians, Samango Ali, went to Dakar and was trying to campaign for Biya, he used to be in Issa Chiroma's party. He broke away, then now he went to campaign somewhere around the extreme north. What happened? The youth of the extreme north chased him out. They chased him out. There's a video of it. I don't really have it with me, but there's a video that shows the way the youth chase this guy. So that's the reality of what is happening in La République du Cameroon. Well, things are terrible in La République du Cameroon, but what about Angola? Angola also is a place where Lourenço João, who is the new president, sent soldiers on the streets to beat protesters. Protesters were protesting against poor living conditions, the high cost of living, but he sent these people to beat protesters. Is this funny? It's not funny. Congo DRC. Well, in Congo DRC, things are not really well. The deal between Rwanda and Congo DRC is holding. The African Union is going to take over the peace administration. But is that enough? Judges have been bribed to condemn Joseph Kabila. That's what we know. What about Mali? In Mali, Assimi Goïta is making all the guys who want to take part in the mineral wealth to toe the line of the junta. So that if you want to enjoy the resources of Mali, you have to follow Assimi Goïta's dictates. That's what is happening. What about Nigeria? In Nigeria, we see the story of hunger. It's like a tale of two cities. You have like Aliko Dangote with his 3 daughters who are planning to take over from him, showing riches and wealth. Then on the other side, you have Nigerians who are hungry. They are poor and hungry. They are crying. A year ago, when they protested, they were beaten and killed. Yet, they have not forgotten that there is still hunger. Against this backdrop is also the story of Ken Saro-Wiwa. After over 30 years, the people are seeing the justification for his fight. But has this ended hunger in Nigeria? No, hunger remains in Nigeria. Then what about South Africa? Well, South Africa will be hosting the G20 meeting soon, but it looks like Donald Trump has refused to attend that meeting. Why? Because he has a lot of beef to pick with South Africa. Okay, he has a lot of beef to pick with South Africa, and he's going to refuse to go to this meeting. So far, South Africa is part of the BRICS. You remember? Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. This is an acronym for countries that are advocating for a multipolar world, a world in which the US dollar is not dominating. As a result, the Trump administration is punishing Cyril Ramaphosa and his government. Are things going to change? Well, Cyril Ramaphosa is hoping that Donald Trump will come to his senses and try to do business with South Africa. But you should remember, South Africa used to have nuclear weapons. Unfortunately, South Africa was forced to give up these nuclear weapons. But now in the world, militarism, as we say, is taking place. If you have nuclear weapons, you can make noise. Africans cannot make noise because they don't have nuclear weapons. So this is a sad tale. South Africa has to remember. And the bomb that South Africa made was just similar to the bomb that was thrown on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It was not a nuclear weapon that was too sophisticated. It was an atomic bomb that is similar to what America dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Then they stopped the Second World War. So now we are getting ready for World War III. We've shown you in this expose that World War III is coming. If you don't believe it, watch, because all the signs are there. Most of the countries in the world, they are not ready to back down. Okay? North Korea, most of these countries, they want to exert their freedom. They don't want to listen to Trump. Even India, Trump is telling India to stop buying oil from Russia. India said no. Trump is telling China to stop buying Russian oil because they feel Russian oil profits are making it impossible for Vladimir Putin to listen to Trump and stop the war in Ukraine. So what is going to give? Well, Third World War is what is going to give, and that's what we see coming. Are you prepared for World War III? We know that most of these leaders are cowards. They will saber rattle. Finally, some sense will come into their heads because they will realize that World War III means they too are going to die. Are they ready to die? I would say no. When you see the way these leaders behave, they are bullies. But they are cowards at the same time. Bullies are cowards. You know that. Trump is a bully. Trump is a coward. Okay? This may sound like syllogistic reasoning in philosophy, but that's basically what it is. Men are cowards. Trump is a man, therefore Trump is a coward. That's the logic in syllogism in philosophy. Okay? So we put Trump here and we say, watch, what can we do? So African countries have to be preparing. Don't be afraid of World War III because the warmongers are afraid to kill themselves. When they get to the brink, they'll be forced to stop and come to their senses. We've explained to you the same factors that created World War I, World War II are creating World War III. It only takes a jingoistic, nationalistic leader like Trump to start a new war. And that's what is happening now. Trump likes Vladimir Putin, but Vladimir Putin is similar to Trump because he also is a bully, is an authoritarian, which is why Barack Obama and Kamala Harris are saying, Americans, stand up for your rights. Don't allow criminals to break the system and impose dictatorship on you. You remember what happened with Britain? America fought to free themselves from Britain. So the Americans of today have to fight a new war because Trump is doing the same thing. You may think that he's targeting foreigners, but he will come at you. And which is why Barack Obama and Kamala Harris are back. They're breaking their silence. They are saying, Americans, wake up, smell the coffee. Before you know it, you'll be living in a dictatorship with all the institutions broken. Trump has captured the apparatus of the American system of democracy. He's breaking it into shreds. Breaking it into shreds. The society is in chaos. The economy is collapsing. It is an earthquake. Look at what happened on Wall Street on Friday. It's an earthquake that is taking place, and the world is watching. So what are you doing, my fellow Africans? What do you think? You've watched this video. Do you have suggestions for us? If you have suggestions, share them in your comments. Subscribe, subscribe, and subscribe. Don't be afraid to subscribe. Most of you are afraid to subscribe. We don't know why. Well, if you are living in a country where you think you'll be picked up by the dictators, we'll say, okay, don't subscribe. But if you're in Europe or other places where you can afford to speak out, speak out. Share your ideas with your friends. Because if you don't speak out, it's like you are dead. Okay? You are a living corpse. You are a zombie. So do you want to be a zombie forever? I'm sure fella Anikulapo does not want you to be a zombie forever. Zombie, 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 zombie. Bye-bye.
Do you need tax preparation services? We can help. Contact PJ Tax Service, America's only full-time income tax preparers. Like the good old doctor, we do not close our doors after April 15th. In fact, we stay open all year round in order to serve you. We are located at 11207A, Lockwood Drive, Silver Spring, Maryland, 20901. Make an appointment today with Prince Ojong, your tax expert. Call 240-350-1131 or visit us on the web at www.pjtaxservice.com.
Selling a service or a product? Need buyers? Use the African Nation TV as a channel to reach many viewers. Act now and call Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131. That's 240-350-1131. Act today.